Have you ever wondered why some people completely transform their lives while others stay stuck in the same patterns year after year? The answer might surprise you. It's not about massive life overhauls or dramatic moments of change. It's about something much smaller, much quieter, and infinitely more powerful. It's about atomic habits. Picture this. Two people start the year with identical goals. They both want to get in shape, read more books, and build a successful career. One person makes dramatic changes overnight, hitting the gym for 2 hours daily, reading for 3 hours straight, and working until midnight. The other person makes tiny adjustments, doing just 5 push-ups each morning, reading 1 page before bed, and spending an extra 10 minutes organizing their workspace. Fast forward 12 months, the first person burned out within weeks and returned to old patterns. The second person, they've transformed their entire life through the power of small, consistent actions. James Clear's groundbreaking book, Atomic Habits, reveals a simple truth that changes everything. Success is the product of daily habits, not once-in-a-lifetime transformations. Think about it for a moment. The person you are today is largely the result of your habits, the way you wake up each morning, how you respond to stress, what you choose to eat, how you spend your free time. These seemingly insignificant decisions, repeated day after day, have shaped who you become. The person you'll become tomorrow depends on the habits you choose today. Every single day, you're casting votes for the type of person you want to be through your actions, no matter how small they seem. Here's where it gets fascinating, and this is where the mathematics of transformation becomes truly mind-blowing. If you get just 1% better each day for a year, you'll end up 37 times better by the end of that year. Let that sink in for a moment. Not 37% better, 37 times better. That's the power of compound growth applied to human behavior. But here's the flip side that most people don't consider, and it's equally powerful in the opposite direction. If you get 1% worse each day, you'll decline nearly down to 0. Your habits can compound for you or against you. The choice is yours. And you're making it every single day, often without even realizing it. This concept of compound growth isn't just mathematical theory. It's happening in your life right now. Think about someone you know who seems naturally fit. They didn't become that way overnight. They made small, consistent choices about movement and nutrition that compounded over years. Consider someone in your life who's incredibly knowledgeable about their field. They didn't absorb all that information in a single intense study session. They developed a habit of continuous learning that built upon itself day after day. Most of us have been thinking about change all wrong. We focus on what we want to achieve instead of who we wish to become. We set goals and wonder why we can't stick to them. We create elaborate plans and then feel defeated when we can't maintain the intensity. Clear shows us there are actually 3 levels of change happening simultaneously, like layers of an onion, each one deeper and more powerful than the last. The first level is changing your outcomes. This is where most people focus their energy. They want to lose 20 pounds, write a book, learn a new language, or earn more money. There's nothing wrong with outcome-based goals, but they're only the surface layer. The second level is changing your process. This involves changing your habits and systems, the daily routines and behaviors that lead to those outcomes. This is where most self-help advice lives, and it's certainly more effective than focusing solely on outcomes. But the third level, the deepest level, is changing your identity. This is where real transformation happens, where change becomes effortless rather than forced. Every habit you perform is essentially a vote for the type of person you want to become. When you make your bed each morning, you're voting to be someone who values order and discipline. When you write a single paragraph, you're voting to be a writer. When you choose the salad over the burger, you're voting to be someone who prioritizes health. When you put your phone in another room to focus on work, you're voting to be someone who values deep concentration. The more votes you cast for a particular identity, the stronger that identity becomes. Eventually, you don't have to think about these choices anymore. They become automatic because they align with who you are. This is revolutionary because it flips the traditional approach on its head. Instead of starting with what you want to achieve, you start with who you want to be. Instead of saying, "I want to run a marathon," you say, "I am a runner." Instead of, "I want to write a book," you say, "I am a writer." Instead of, "I want to eat healthier," you say, "I am someone who nourishes their body." This shift in identity creates a powerful pull that makes the habits feel natural rather than forced. When someone offers you a cigarette and you say, "No thanks, I don't smoke," that's much more powerful than saying, "I'm trying to quit smoking." The first statement reflects identity. The second reflects a struggle against your identity. But how exactly do habits work? This is where Clear's insights become incredibly practical. He breaks down every habit into a simple 4-step loop that your brain follows automatically, often without your conscious awareness. First, there's the cue, which triggers your brain to initiate a behavior. This could be a time of day, a location, an emotional state, or the presence of certain people. Then comes the craving, which is the motivational force behind every habit. It's not the habit itself you crave, but the change in state the habit delivers. Next is the response, which is the actual habit you perform. This could be a thought, feeling, or action. Finally, there's the reward, which satisfies the craving and teaches your brain to remember this loop for the future. Understanding this loop is crucial because it shows you exactly where you can intervene to change your habits. You can make the cue more obvious or hide it completely. You can make the craving more attractive or less appealing. You can make the response easier or more difficult. You can make the reward more satisfying or remove it entirely. This gives you 4 different leverage points for transformation. This brings us to Clear's 4 laws of behavior change, which are perhaps the most practical part of his entire system. For building good habits, the 4 laws are beautifully simple yet profoundly effective. First, make it obvious. Second, make it attractive. Third, make it easy. Fourth, make it satisfying. For breaking bad habits, you simply invert these laws. Make it invisible, make it unattractive, make it difficult, and make it unsatisfying. These laws correspond directly to the 4 steps of the habit loop, giving you a systematic approach to habit change. Let's dive deeper into each of these laws because they're absolute game changers when you understand how to apply them. Making it obvious means designing your environment so that the cues for good habits are impossible to miss. If you want to drink more water, fill up a water bottle and place it directly in your line of sight on your desk. If you want to read more, leave a book on your pillow so you see it every time you go to bed. If you want to exercise in the morning, lay out your workout clothes the night before. The most disciplined people aren't actually more disciplined than everyone else. They're simply better at structuring their lives so that good behaviors are easier and bad behaviors are harder. Making it attractive taps into your brain's reward system in clever ways. You can bundle a habit you need to do with a habit you want to do. This is called temptation bundling. Maybe you only listen to your favorite podcast while exercising, or you only get your favorite coffee after completing your morning routine. You can also join a culture where your desired behavior is normal. If you want to read more, join a book club where reading is celebrated. If you want to exercise, find a workout buddy or join a fitness community. We naturally adopt the behaviors of the groups we belong to. Making it easy is about reducing friction for good habits and increasing friction for bad ones. This is where Clear introduces the brilliant 2-minute rule. When you start a new habit, it should take less than 2 minutes to do. Want to read more? Don't commit to reading for an hour, commit to reading 1 page. Want to exercise? Don't plan a full workout, just put on your workout clothes. Want to meditate? Don't aim for 20 minutes. Start with taking 3 deep breaths. The idea is to make the habit as easy as possible to start because starting is often the hardest part. Once you're in motion, it's easier to stay in motion. Making it satisfying ensures you'll want to repeat the behavior. Our brains are wired to repeat behaviors that feel good immediately, which is why bad habits are so sticky and good habits can feel like a struggle. Bad habits often provide immediate pleasure but delayed consequences. Good habits often require immediate sacrifice but provide delayed rewards. The trick is to give yourself an immediate reward after completing a good habit. This could be as simple as checking off a box on a habit tracker, giving yourself a small treat, or even just saying, "Nice job," out loud. The reward doesn't have to be big, it just has to be immediate. Now, here's something that might completely change how you think about willpower and discipline. The environment you create is far more powerful than your motivation. Clear emphasizes that design beats discipline every single time. You don't need more motivation, you need a better system. You don't need to be a more disciplined person. You need to create an environment that makes good choices easier and bad choices harder. Think about your physical environment right now. What habits is it promoting? If there are cookies on your counter, you're more likely to eat cookies. If there's a guitar in the corner of your room, you're more likely to play music. If your phone is always within arm's reach, you're more likely to check it constantly. If your running shoes are by the door, you're more likely to go for a run. Small changes to your environment can lead to big changes in your behavior without requiring any additional willpower. One of the most powerful techniques Clear shares is called habit stacking. This involves pairing a new habit with an existing habit that you already do consistently. The formula is beautifully simple. After I do this current habit, I will do this new habit. For example, after I pour my morning coffee, I will write in my journal for 2 minutes. Or after I sit down for dinner, I will say one thing I'm grateful for. Or after I close my laptop at the end of the workday, I will do 10 push-ups. This works because you're using the momentum of one habit to fuel another. You're essentially hijacking an existing neural pathway to build a new one. Another crucial concept that explains why so many people give up on their goals is what Clear calls the plateau of latent potential. This is the period when you're putting in work but not seeing results yet. Imagine an ice cube sitting in a room that's slowly warming up. At 25 degrees, nothing happens. At 28 degrees, still nothing. At 31 degrees, still nothing visible. But at 32 degrees, the ice begins to melt. All the work to heat the room from 25 to 31 degrees wasn't wasted. It was absolutely necessary to reach the breakthrough moment. The breakthrough moment often comes after a long period of seemingly no progress. This is why so many people give up right before they would have succeeded. The key to breaking bad habits lies in understanding that you can't just eliminate a bad habit, you need to replace it. Nature abhors a vacuum, and so does your brain. If you want to stop checking your phone so much, you need to replace that behavior with something else. Maybe when you feel the urge to check your phone, you take 3 deep breaths instead. Or you do 10 push-ups. Or you write down one thing you're grateful for. The goal is to keep the same cue and reward, but change the routine in the middle. Clear also emphasizes the importance of tracking your habits, and this goes beyond just motivation. What gets measured gets managed. A habit tracker serves multiple purposes. It acts as a visual cue, makes your habits satisfying by providing clear evidence of progress, and it helps you stay motivated by showing how far you've come. It doesn't have to be complicated or fancy. A simple calendar where you mark an X for each day you complete your habit can be incredibly powerful. The key is to track the habit immediately after you do it, creating an immediate sense of satisfaction. One of the most profound insights from the book is that your habits shape your identity, and your identity shapes your habits. It's a continuous feedback loop. Every time you choose to act in accordance with your desired identity, you strengthen that identity. Every time you write, you become more of a writer. Every time you exercise, you become more of an athlete. Every time you meditate, you become more of a mindful person. Every time you choose the healthy option, you become more of a health-conscious person. This is why identity-based habits are so much more powerful than outcome-based goals. The beauty of atomic habits is that they're infinitely sustainable. You're not trying to change everything at once. You're not relying on motivation or willpower, both of which are finite resources. You're simply making small adjustments that compound over time. It's like steering a massive ship. A small adjustment in direction might not be noticeable immediately, but over a long journey, it determines whether you end up at your intended destination or somewhere completely different. Clear reminds us that habits are the compound interest of self-improvement. Just as money multiplies through compound interest, the effects of your habits multiply as you repeat them. They seem to make little difference on any given day, and you may not even notice their impact from week to week. Yet the impact they deliver over months and years can be enormous. This is both the challenge and the opportunity of habits. The challenge is that small changes often feel insignificant in the moment. The opportunity is that small changes can become the most meaningful forces in your life. The most successful people aren't necessarily more talented or more motivated than everyone else. They've simply developed better systems. They've created environments that make good choices easier. They've aligned their habits with their identity. They understand that small changes can make a big difference if you're willing to stick with them long enough. They've learned to fall in love with the process rather than just the outcome. As we wrap up this journey through atomic habits, remember that the secret to getting results that last is to never stop making improvements. It's remarkable what you can build if you just don't stop. A small change today might not seem like much, but it can steer your life in an entirely new direction. The compound effect of tiny gains will take you to places you never imagined possible. Your habits decide your future. Every day, you have the opportunity to cast votes for the person you want to become. Make them count. Start small, be consistent, and trust the process. The results will come, even when you can't see them yet. Remember, you don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. Build better systems, focus on your identity, and extraordinary results will follow. The power to transform your life is in your hands, one small habit at a time.